I'm good at telling stories. We all, through our lives, go through ups and downs. It started as a fitness club, turned into an amateur boxing club. Somebody asked me if I'd be interested in helping people who have got drink and drug problems. And my parents suffered with drinking and drugs. And I lost my mother really early, when I was 20, which I feel was really early, and I lost my dad early. And it's all down to their lifestyle choices. And I absolutely love changing lives. I never thought anybody would want to video me for one, but I never thought anybody would want to listen to anything I had to say. But the more people you help, the more people want help. So everybody really wants a better life, I think. And if I feel honoured that I'm in a position to help people, and I think it's all I'll ever do now. I'm a boxer, I don't cry.
David.
Hello.
Hello, welcome to our podcast. It's
Yeah.
such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, nice to be here.
So, tell us about your business or businesses.
Well, the easiest, I'm good at telling stories, as you might have guessed. I like telling stories, not I'm good at telling stories, but I like telling stories. So I started my business as a boxing club a long time ago. Then somebody asked me a long time ago if I'd write a book, and it's a book all about, they want me to write a book about my life because they thought it might be interesting. Now I didn't think it was, but after a couple of years I said okay. And I started writing a book about my life, and I found it was quite interesting, which led me on to really what I do today. Because we all, through our lives, go through ups and downs. And it's how, when sometimes we look back and we look at our downs, and I think too many people live in their past. And what I found was I'd moved on quite significantly and sort of left my past behind. And I ended up after about 8 years of training people, as in Boxercise, which is like a fitness regime. I ended up starting my own boxing club. And then what I found was at the boxing club, the people in the boxing club were getting the same gains what I got. And it's not so much how to box or how to look after yourself, it was competence. So the whole idea of what I do now is all about lifting people up. So there's lots of people. We'll have a class last night where we had a lady who's got Down syndrome, but we'll have an athlete in there as well. So we cover the classes I teach at the moment, cover everybody. And what's happened over the years, it started as a fitness club, turned into an amateur boxing club. And then after the amateur boxing club, somebody asked me, actually from Oxford, where we are now, somebody asked me if I'd be interested in helping people who have got drink and drug problems. And my parents suffered with drink and drugs. So one of each suffered with each one. And I lost my mother really early, when I was 20, which I feel was really early, and I lost my dad early. And it's all down to their lifestyle choices. So so when a man came along and asked me if would I be willing to help people who were struggling with that, I said, yeah, of course, it was a no-brainer. And then after about 7 years, he must, maybe not quite as long as that, he passed away, and again it was through drug abuse. You know, he'd had enough. I don't know the true story, but he passed away through drug abuse, and he left me holding the baby sort of thing. So I've got a class I'm teaching every Monday morning, which I still teach now, and it's helping people who have got. It was for helping people who've got drinking and drug problems, but then it evolved into something where anybody who's got mental health. It was all over the papers a few years, and as it is now, and all over the media, that everybody's suffering with mental health problems. I mean, somebody asked me one time, did I suffer with mental health problems? Is that why I'm doing it? I said no, because I feel quite a strong person. And then, I don't know how long later, I had a little think about it. It was probably months later. And I thought, well, I've had loads, because I wrote my story, and I wrote about all the stuff I've been through. I've had lots of, and we all do. I'm not special, but we all have problems as we go through. So I opened up to everybody, and I was doing a fitness class as normal, but I also added somebody from CBT, and more recently I've added somebody who does meditation. So my business, what it is now, is it's an amateur boxing club. So that's for boys and girls, and then I also do this, and I do talks. I I go to schools and businesses, and we do talks. As I said, we've kind of started a new business which helps fitness instructors and hairdressers in helping people with their mental health problems. So my job is varied. Somebody asked me yesterday. I think somebody says, what will I do next? I mean, somebody asked me yesterday if I will take children who are homeschooled and will I teach classes for them? And they sent me a text and I said, yeah, I can do that. And I'll give a time. And then they said, how many can you take? And I said, 20. And then they said, well, we've got more than 20 now. They did and that was in that day. They just, they put it on Facebook or something. So who wants to go to Dave's classes, who's being homeschooled? And they've got more than 20 people. So I will start, that's my next one. But the idea of that isn't just to get people fitter at school. The idea is to get into their minds and let them understand the importance of mental toughness, mental resilience and everything else. It's not just about giving them something to do. They're not coming there just to have a play around. They're coming there actually to learn something, get fitter, get stronger and get a stronger mind. So it's not just the one thing. So that's my latest thing that I'm going to start on May the 3rd.
And how do you do that? So on the physical side of things, you have the boxing club and you have the experience and all that, and then you're now focusing on the mental side of things, and you're trying to build this mental resilience, and help people from that angle. How do you do that?
Well, I feel I've been a coach for, I don't even know, I'm that old. How long have I been a coach? I've been coaching probably for the last 20 years as a coach, and before that I used to compete. And it's giving people something, when the mental resilience and everything, giving something to strive towards. Okay, so it's so when they're doing their boxing training, as I go around and talk to people, if I give examples, there's one lad who, there's so many examples, and to be totally honest, so one lad came along and he couldn't even go to a coffee shop because he had so many issues going on. He couldn't, to walk to the gym, he could walk to the gym and walk home, but he couldn't stop anywhere on the way. And this is a fully grown man. So my support for him was to ask him if he'd been to a coffee shop. He says, no. Would you ever? And he says, no. I said, would you go with me? And he said, yes. So we went to a coffee shop and he struggled. So he said, we'll sit outside because he told me he had, and he did have sensory disorder. So we sat outside, and the next week we went to a pub. He said he don't drink. I said, we'll have an orange juice. Yeah, again, middle of the day, 5 o'clock. And he's grown into such a strong person now. He will be one of my coaches soon. And he work, he helps out behind the counter, make sure everybody comes in and pays and stuff. So what you do, you just give people belief. If I have a child who comes in who's not very able, and I build them up so they know the basics. As soon as somebody else comes in who's not very able, I get this person to help that person. And that's the same as what's happened to all of us. We get helped along the way, and they get the competence themselves. I think you have to let people feel they've achieved it themselves, so then they can go on and achieve more stuff themselves. And I think that's what it is. I get people to sort of convince themselves that they are more than what they think they are, sort of thing.
Why did you put your focus on this side? Because exactly as you're saying, each one of us, we have our own, mental issues or barriers or things to deal with, one way or another, some more than the others. Why did you particularly put your focus on that? Because you could easily just, have your boxing club. What was it that actually triggered you to actually continue doing that? I know that you mentioned that somebody approached you.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I started by teaching boxing. My ambitions to start with was to have a club, and to be all honest, when I started, I thought it'd be all like I'll have Buddhas and everything all over the place, and it'd be all spiritual and nice. And when you actually jump in, and the real world comes to you, and when the teacher starts bringing their children to your class, and they have faith in you to help their children, then parents come a lot to me and tell me about their struggling children. And one guy, I got a real nice story, which was a trigger, was somebody came up to one time and he asked me if if he could put me in his will, grown man. And I said, don't be daft. Then he went on to tell me a story, and he said 2 years ago he came to me and he told me he was going to kill himself. So all right, and he said, and then I invited him in for coffee, and we had a coffee, we sat down, and he said, and you stopped me killing myself. He said, I've got I don't know if he's alive or dead now, don't get me wrong, but he said, and because you bought me coffee, and you taught me out of it, and I just thought a conversation and a cup of coffee can save a life. So that was like the kickstart of everything, sort of thing. And then there's story after story after story, and I've known lots of people who have I could tell so many stories. I know lots of people who've made the wrong decisions and are no longer with us. I know people who started off wrong and got better, and I know people who started off wrong and become superstars. So, you know, as I go along, I feel I get more knowledge, and I know how to help more people. And I think it is a bit selfless myself, because I love developing. I love knowing that I can help people, because when you can't help anybody, then you know, it's just like life ain't so good. But when you can actually go out and change a life, change someone's life for the better, and it's you feel more important in yourself. And I can walk down the street in any day of the week, and somebody's going to stop me and say hello and tell me how great I am. So I quite like that, and then you just know you're doing something good. So once you start doing it, and I don't even think it's my skills I've been able to do it. I think it's because I've helped people, other people believe I can help them. And because I'm not a school teacher or a psychologist or anything like that, I imagine that children and various people are going to find me more approachable. So I can just sit and chat. I'm not going to tell them. I always tell people, you know, this isn't, you know, I'm not a trained psychologist or anything like that, but what I can do, I can give you some tools so you can make your life a bit easier and build you into something special. And I tell everybody that, and if they believe it, they will. I'm just a catalyst. I believe I'm just a catalyst to help people on the way. And it doesn't always work, but it works often enough to keep doing it.
You're this person who touches people's soul, which is actually a precious thing. Obviously people come to you for a reason, and they open up to you for a reason. They trust you and they want to hear what you have for them. So for someone who comes to you and say, you know, I have these issues and I have all these, you know, problems and everything, what is your typical approach?
Well, what happens is people will bring people. The main people who come to me for help are parents with their children. So I'll say, I'll have a chat with your child, and I'll always say to the child, despite what the parent says, I'll always say, whatever you say to me stays with me. I'm not going to share anything with your parents, because confidentiality is massive. And I've tripped up, you know, when I was younger, and when I've said something, and then you lose everybody's trust, and now I can't afford to, because this is what I do. So I let them talk to me, and I let them know whatever they say can't go any further than me. It can't go anywhere else. So I give them a safe place, so they can talk about what they want as much as they like, and it don't go no further. And then I do little things. If it's physical, what I'll do, I'll do simple little tasks. And I feel like most mental health problems are based on overthinking. That's why I'll give them an example of overthinking. So I'll give them a little task to do, and I'll say, do this, then do that, then put your foot like this and put your foot like that, stand like this. And they struggle. And then I'll say, now stand the way I'm standing. And they do it straight away. And I said, that's overthinking. That's all of your life. You know, everything you do in your life, we overthink. I overthink. But obviously not as much as I did, or as much as the people that I talk to. So I think we all have got this thing where we imagine people are saying something about us when they're dealing with their own problems. They're not even interested in what we're doing. And we live in this little fantasy world where we think the whole world revolves around us, and people should. I had an incident that I'm not going to talk about now that happened just Tuesday night, when somebody made everything about himself, and I'm thinking, this isn't about you. This is about everybody. And that's what people do. They think the whole world owes them a favour. But if these people can then, if they can move away from that and actually start helping other people, then they'll find they'll find life's much better. I think when people say to me that they're going to, and they put it on Facebook, they said, I'm going to look after number one, I'm thinking, good luck with that, because it ain't really going to work. When you're only thinking about yourself, I think most of our problems start when we only think about ourselves, because we spend all our time worried about what's going to happen next all the time, instead of focusing on what's happening now.
You must have changed many people's lives, and I'm sure you have a lot of examples. If there is one example that comes in your head right now, what would that be? Well, can you share with us?
Which one? Cool. An easy one is, well, I'll give you 3 examples together. One lad came to me, and I'll keep it brief. One lad came to me and he had, oh, you can edit anyway. One lad came to me, he had lots of troubles, and with his troubles, so it started with drinking, and then he went to, he got thrown out of the town, but just to get out of trouble, so he went somewhere else. So I'm trying to keep it so you can't figure out who he is. Well, you won't know, but somebody listening might. So he went, and then his drinking continued, and then he left that place, and he left the child there as well, to another place where he got with another girl, got onto harder drugs, got into Class A drugs, and then had another child there, and then his life is a lovely bloke, and his life was in a mess, and his mother asked if I would look after him at the gym. I said, if he comes in, I can't make him come, and he came, and we were great friends anyway, and he was in his 30s by this stage, and then he so he came to me, and then one day I got a phone call, so I'm keeping it brief. One day I got a phone call. No, I didn't. A friend came up the stairs and he told me that Phil had died at my sister's house, and he'd been doing so well at the gym. He was really old-fashioned. He told me one time that, and I think this is important, he told me one time when I was asking him about himself, he said he was talking to a friend, and the friend would have been my age, a bit older than what he is, and he's talking to a friend, and this friend told me that he started on glue when he was at school, because that's what people did when I was young. Then he went on to the marijuana, and he just went through until he got Class A drugs. He didn't feel like he'd matured because he was always on the drugs. And I think what this lad was saying to me was that's where he was. And when he used to talk to all the kids, he was really old-fashioned in his ways. He weren't tiptoeing like we all do these days. He was talking, and he'd laugh at people who couldn't do a press-up, because they should be able to do a press-up when they're 10 years old or something. He was just laugh. But everybody took him because there was no malice in his laugh. He was just laughing because it was funny. Then everybody loved him. But then, as I say, my friend came up one day and he said, "Can I go to my sister's house?" My sister struggles with alcohol. She's alcoholic, and my friend had died at my sister's house. He'd taken an overdose at my sister's house, and that was an example of making the wrong choices. And then we had another lad who was. He was bullied at college. He was tall, slim, very spotty, clumsy. When he came in, he tripped over coming up the stairs, he tripped over going down the stairs, and he ended up being one of my best boxers. And he would apologise for everything he'd done, even though he hadn't done anything wrong. He was just one of those people who had no sort of confidence. But he went on to do things like, don't seem much to most people, but he went on to get a job, and he went into pass his driving test, well, I never thought he would. He went on to buy his own car. He went on to start his own business. And this was somebody who couldn't read and write. We used to do reading and writing together. So it was, so that was a lovely story. He hasn't gone massive, but he's in society now. He's part of the community. So he's got lots of respect from lots of people. And then we had another lad who's a friend of mine and Ryan's, called Robert Evans, and he went. He was in trouble with the police when he came to me, and he came up to the gym one day. After his third attempt, because he didn't want to make a fool of himself, and he's a big lad, he's 6'4", and he started boxing. And one day I said to him that he's never going to make it. As big and as strong, as gifted as he was never going to make it as a boxer, because he was all he wanted to do was talk to girls and look in the mirror. We weren't that bad, but I wanted to get his back up to make him work. And he became 3 times national boxing champion. And then he went on to be a supermodel. He was on America's Next Top Model as a judge. So his life went, you know, he was quite Googleable. So and he told somebody that once, when they went late in a nightclub. I won't say what he said because he swore a little bit. But it's just an example that our thoughts control where we go with our life, and it's and with a little bit of guidance from whoever it is. And I want to give that guidance to everybody. I want everybody to be able to. So when somebody's struggling, I want whether it's their barber or their gym teacher or their school teacher or something. I'd like everybody to go on, like read the course. It's like everybody to go on a course and learn how to, rather than, you know, learn how to manage people's behaviour and how to push them forward. I don't know about society, it just seems like society wants to hold people where they are rather than push them forward. That's why I say I'd rather be a coach than a counsellor. I think counselling holds people where they are and lets them get through life with coping, and I think coaching actually takes people to a different place and makes life obviously far more enjoyable.
I would like to take a few steps back
Yeah.
to when you were a child.
Yeah.
What were you like as a child?
Oh, well, I thought about this question a while ago. See, when I was a child, now if you ask me what I was like when I was a child, I'll give you a different answer than the people who were around me. Now, everybody around me would say, because it gets messed up as you go older. You imagine a certain way, but I was shy. I didn't have a girlfriend until I was 17. And although I was the second fastest runner in the school, I never caught a girl at Kids Chase. I had no confidence. Race was massive. Being my colour was massive. To me, everything pointed to me that I should be a sports person, because if you looked on the media, all the black people were the best at the running, the boxing and everything else, and all the white people were doing making all the money and having all the good jobs. And it's so as a child, I never had many aspirations. I really didn't think. I thought, you know, I was held back by my own beliefs that, you know, I couldn't do anything because I was the wrong colour to do anything. I never had a girlfriend because I was too frightened to ask a girl if she wanted to go out, because why would they want to go out with somebody with darker skin? So I found childhood quite tough. And a friend once says to me, and he was a black lad, he asked me once if I was, he told me once that I was uncomfortable in my own skin. And I took offence, because as far as by this time I was 21. But when I thought about it, I realised I was. Not so much at that time, but I had been all through my life uncomfortable in my own skin. So childhood was tough in that sense. I got no level in art. My uncle could draw, so I used to draw with my uncle. So the only thing I was any good at was sport and drawing. So all I wanted to be growing up was a lorry driver like my dad. My dad was a lorry driver, I was a lorry driver. My dad was a bouncer. I was a single parent family with my dad. My mum was an alcoholic, so they split up when I was young. So my dad was a bouncer. Everything my dad done, I done. I just wanted, apart from the smoking and stuff like that, I never bothered with any of that stuff. But but all the good stuff that he done, then I wanted to be like him, and that's what led me into the boxing. My dad boxed; he was a professional boxer, so I started boxing. He never wanted me to box, and I didn't want my kids to box, but one of my sons boxed as well, because I know what it feels like to be hit, and I don't want my son feeling it. And I boxed for a long time, like nearly 16 years boxing and kickboxing. So I didn't want my son to do that. I wanted him better for him, but he had to go because his dad had to go, and he had 5 fights. That's Maxie, and he didn't know why he won 4 out of 5. But I saw him get hurt once, and I was like, oh, God. And I was in his corner, and I could do nothing, and my hands were tied. So I don't know how people can want their children to actually box. I don't mind putting other children that don't belong to me. Don't mind it. And I know it's going to make them strong in the long run, but it's very hard watching your own son getting punched. That's it. I'm lucky. I think I'm lucky because I do something I love doing, and I do get to change people's lives. I forgot what the question was.
I was just the question was basically what were you like as a child? And
yeah.
I think
I was quite shy. I was shy, and I wasn't ambitious. I had ideas in my mind of what I wanted to be, but I had no plan or no idea how I was going to get there. I was never entrepreneurial. I never thought I'd ever achieve anything that way. And the only reason I did achieve it was because I started boxing. And I'm not even sure I've achieved anything now apart from the fact that people listen to me they never did before. So now I feel I honestly think I can have an influence on the whole world. I think if we get people just thinking more positively, I'm not sure the world wants it. That's the trouble. I think if you go back to the days when kings and queens ruled the world, and we were like the peasants and we were doing the land, it kind of worked for the people in power, and I think maybe that still goes on now. So, you can't really. I don't feel you can really disrupt it too much. But what I want to do is as many people as I can. I want them to have the confidence to actually go and achieve. I want people to realise that there is more. There's more than they think, and some people have just got a negative opinion on life. If you walk into I'm a coffee shop man. I'm always in a coffee shop, and if you listen to people all the time, they tell you everything that's wrong with the world. And proof showed, if you listen to, I can't remember his name, Pinkner his name, something Pinkner, Henry Pinkner, something like that. If you listen to this, he just talks about how the world was 10 years back, 20 years back, 30 years back. If you go back to 60 or 70 years back, you couldn't vote. I couldn't vote. You used to have signs on the pub saying no blacks, no Irish, no dogs. Things have changed. So we used to hang each other, didn't we? And even the kings and queens, they'd be killing each other. So the world has got so much better and so much easier. People complain about what's going on the high street, and you say you want to go on the high street in 1980 and have a look and see the difference. And we all look back in these rose-coloured specks, but things have got so much better. But we don't focus on that. We focus on how much worse everything's got all the time. And really, if we're honest with ourselves, then it's things have got a lot better. It's just taking opportunities.
If you want to change things, and it looks like you are actually, and you're definitely putting your steps forward for that very purpose, and you are making a difference, you are making an impact. If you want to actually do that wider, have you thought about it? How you're going to do that?
Yeah, I want to talk more. I've done some talks, and I want to get more confident with talking. I did a TED talk. That was fun. No, it wasn't. What did I even say that? I did a TED talk, and it was fun. It was fun because I wanted to do a TED talk, and so I used to go with Ryan to these TED talks and listen to them. I thought, oh God, I'd love to do that. And then somebody said, we're doing a TED talk in our hometown, Banbury. Do you want to do it? I'm like, yeah, of course I do. And I revised and I wrote all this stuff down, and it was great because I was just writing and scribbling out and getting it. So I had it all down pat. But the nerves got the better of me, and then I had to put it onto a little iPad and scroll through as I was reading, put it on in a church, so we had a thing to put it on. I was scrolling through, and then I started talking like I did earlier about my parents and how I lost them due to their lifestyle choices. But as I said it, my voice went and tears started flowing. I was like, oh, come on. And I couldn't talk about it, and I did, but it was very hard to get through, and I just said, look, I'll get through this bit. It's just I was all right in rehearsal. I'll get through this bit, and I got through. But it wrecked me. It wrecked me. I had to leave the church and just go for a walk and just try and pull myself together. So I can feel it a little bit now talking, but it was. But I'd like to be able to talk. I'd like to be able to talk and change people's. I think TED Talks what they're aimed at as changing people's perspectives, so people see things a little bit differently, and I think we need to. I think we all need to see things a bit differently. Otherwise, the world's going to always be a horrible place. I think people need to know that the world's a great place with lots of opportunities. So we need to give the opportunities to those people who don't realise they're there.
On the way, because you've gone through so many ups and downs in your life, and even now, the challenges that you're facing, because you're dealing with all sorts of, stories on daily basis in terms of, because you're the listener, you're the one who is absorbing everything. I have two questions. The first question is, what or who was your influence to actually, did you have anyone that you looked up to, or even you were like, I don't want to be like this, or definitely I want to be like, him or her, Was there anyone in your way who influenced, you know, you and your decisions to become who you are today?
My hero was my dad. So, although I think he was a bit naughty. He's like a small-time criminal, but but I loved him more than anything. But when it comes to what I'm doing now, to be honest, I fell into it, and then I met a friend. Again, it was Ryan, and he took me to some Tony Robbins talks. So I listened a lot to Tony Robbins. Then I started listening to other talkers, and then after a while, because I'd listened so much, I could sort of tell in my mind who was doing it for the right reasons and who's doing it the wrong reasons. And I want to do it for the right reasons. I want to do it. I don't want to do it to be rich and famous. I want to. Although I'd like a little bit more money, but I don't want to do it rich and famous. I want to do it so I change people's lives, and I don't want to. I wouldn't want to run a course and not be there to see the course through. I'd like to know that everybody did the course, knew what we were talking about, right? So somebody had a question they can ask me, and I'll say, well, this is that and this is that. So they just don't fill in tick boxes and say they've got a qualification to be. To help people. I think people need that. So it was mainly my biggest influence early doors was my father, and then as I went on, I just listened and read, and then it was lots of people like Nelson Mandela. Obviously, is a huge influence. So I've read some of his stuff as well. So I didn't start reading until relatively recently, in the last sort of 10 or 15 years. Once I started, then I do audio books a little bit now, but it's all, I'm a man, so it's all factual stuff. There's no fiction, so it all has to be real for us, doesn't it? So you have to keep it real. So it can make a difference. So it's all about making a difference. It just gives you a little more purpose, I think, in life.
Exactly, you're absolutely right. You know, that sense of purpose is it's very important. Leads me to the second question that I had around the same topic. Again, the people that you're dealing with, and the fact that you're this listener and you care about all these people around you, and your mission is to make them feel better and make them be better people. That should put a lot of burden, especially mentally, on you. What are your challenges on the way, and how do you deal with these things?
I only, apart from that talk, I had one with my sister. My sister died, and
take your time. Take your time, David.
I can tell everybody, cameras are rubbish, aren't they? All right, so back in the room, that's what I said last time, right? So my sister died, and when she died, I had a meltdown. So it was like, but I didn't know I was having a meltdown. I was, somebody came into me one day and said, Dave, you're messing up. I said, what do you mean? And what happened one day, my sister phoned me, and then we were just having a chat. It was okay, it was normal. And then I went back to the class, and I was like this. It hadn't bothered me forever. Hang on. So, I'll finish. So everything went wrong. I was just like, I started messing up, so I weren't cleaning the place, and I weren't, thank you, Star. So I wasn't doing anything, and members were leaving, and somebody came up the stairs one day, like called Mark. He came up the stairs and he said, you're fucking up. What do you mean? And I was, but I didn't realise. So he said, but as soon as he left the room, I fixed it. You know, it was like, what would my sister think if she saw me like this? Sort of thing. So I fixed it. And so that got to me, but nothing else has since. It was just like, that was the thing. Because if I lost the business because of her, then it would have been obviously not very good. And I stopped helping people. And if she was up there looking down, what would I think? What would she think? So it was, I feel I should do that bit again. But that was one, was another, and another one was when, this is easier, this back in the ring. Like that. Another one was a woman, she came to me and she texted me and said she was struggling, could I go and see her? And I'd known her for like 30 years, so it's cool. So I went to see her, but when I got there, she was, I couldn't find the house, then I found the house, a really big, nice house. Then I said to somebody, where is it? Because the house had a name and not a number. So I found it, lovely house, and I tapped on the window and she was slumped. She was slumped on a sofa, and I thought she was dead. And I thought, fucking hell. And then she asked me the next day if I would go, she weren't dead. I bet I should have put that bit in. She hadn't died, she'd just drunk. The same as where I used to see my mum. So that got me as well. And I went to Alcoholics Anonymous, and I went there and I didn't really rate what happened at Alcoholics Anonymous either. I thought, this ain't helping nobody. It's just like former alcoholics or alcoholics in recovery trying to help other alcoholics, and it didn't seem to be working to me. So I promised myself I'd never let it get to me again, because that did that time. Obviously, it did with my sister for obvious reasons, because we lost her in the end, which to cancer. But from there, I just draw a line, and if I can just, the idea of helping somebody, I'm a bit severe. In the fact that if somebody comes to me with a problem, I know they can fix it, and if I can't help them, then they need to go and talk to somebody else, because I've got my limits. When somebody comes to me with complex needs, and they tell me they've got complex needs, I say, well, you need to talk to so and so. I can't deal with that. What I can do, I can build you up, and I don't know where needs become complex. All right, so everybody comes to me with a problem has got needs. I don't know where those needs become complex, and if I can't help them, lucky I've got counsellors and other people. I can what do they call it now? Signpost them to, so I do that. So I say, but apart from that little bit of teary stuff just now, I don't suffer. I don't suffer at all. If I go back, I can, like everybody can. But the trouble is, I think what counselling does, it takes us back to a place where I just went. It takes us back to a place when things were not good. And the only way our past can affect us if we live in it. Right? So if we decide to live in the past, then it's going to affect us. And so many people, so many kids along the way, they blame everything. They find something to blame. They blame everything on their past, when their past really can't do anything unless they think about it. So my juncture is you're here, let's get you forward. Rather than, I think a lot of people do, you're here, let's see why you're here. And I don't think that's beneficial to anybody. There's a program called, it's called My Name is Earle on the TV. And did you ever see it? And his thing was, he did, unfortunately, my name's Earle too. So there was a thing where he would go in his past and try and fix stuff, and he'd just mess it up, because what's gone is gone, and you can't fix what's gone. You can go back and apologise, but that person is going to remind you what you've done, and bring it all back again. And you can't. The way I say it, we can't fix those things, and I don't know how to, and I don't really care to take people back and try and fix them. What I know is we've got the present, we've got a future. The past is gone, and whether we decide to visit that on regular occasions every weekend in a thing is up to us ourselves. And every time, what I've noticed, every time somebody revisits that, they don't fix anything. All it does is bring everything back. And when you bring everything back, all the pain comes back. Now, if you can focus on where you're going, the present, and where you want to go to, then life is far more enjoyable. That's why I don't go out and talk to my sister every day. But it's God, I can't believe that. But yeah, she was cool. Oh dear. Next question.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. If there is one piece of advice you would give to someone who is listening or watching this, somebody who either has started the journey or are about to start the journey, or just want to get inspired, what would that be?
Start a journey on what, sorry?
on their, let's say a business, something they want to do, something they're passionate about?
I'm with you. I would say I would always say to anybody, try everything until you find something you like. I think too many of us, and sometimes it works. I've got a son, he tried he went to university, which I thought was a bit, why would you go to university? Because it takes you in one direction. But he went to university, took it in one direction, then once he got all the knowledge and the qualifications, he went in different directions. So I would say, try everything. Don't limit yourself to one thing. And try stuff that you enjoy doing. Don't try stuff for money. So I think if you try stuff just for money, you become a slave to money. Try stuff that can make you happy. Don't know if you're a videographer and you find that some people start that at college and then carry on and become brilliant at it. It's just, and we all do stuff. And find something that you've got a passion for rather than something that you think, oh, that's going to make me a lot of money. Again, I've gone back to the money. I think money is the killer of souls. I think we should do something we enjoy doing. I absolutely love changing lives. I never thought anybody would want to video me for one, but I never thought anybody would want to listen to anything I had to say. But the more people you help, the more people want help. So everybody really wants a better life, I think. And if I feel honoured that I'm in a position to help people, and I think it's all I'll ever do now. I won't do anything else.
It's so amazing. It's so amazing, David. What you do is so inspiring, and it's so amazing. And the fact that you have the capability to make a difference to people's life is just amazing. And thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you also for sharing your story, and thank you for being here. It was such a pleasure to have you. God. Thank you, David.
I'm a boxer, I don't cry.
You are a human, you do cry.
Yeah, I know, I do. Now and again. Once every 10 years. All right, I'm done.
Thank you so much, David.